What's up, guys? Ricky here. Do you love Most Valuable Podcasts? And are you like myself where things that you like, you just have to let people know because they've got to be on your t-shirt at all times? If you do, you're in luck because we got Most Valuable Podcast t-shirts. You've probably seen myself, Dave, Mark, Sean, Brandon. You might have seen us wearing these t-shirts in videos. The good thing is now you can get your hands on one too. How do you do so? First off, send us an email, mostvaluablepodcast@gmail.com. Give us your name, your size, your address. We will then send you an invoice through Square. That's how you'll pay for it, $22 per shirt. And then after we get the money, we will send you a great Most Valuable Podcast t-shirt for you to wear so you can tell everybody that you love listening to Most Valuable Podcast. So go check it out. The directions are also in the description. What are you waiting for? We got the shirts just for you.
Let's jump into it. We are now going to go into the mock draft. We're starting top to bottom, so we're starting with 1 through 10. On YouTube, it's going to be split up to 3 segments. So the first one, this is 1 through 10. Next one's going to be 11 through 20, and then we're going to wrap it up with 21 through 30. Now, here's the big thing. I got to decide who's going to go first, either Dave or Ricky. I don't remember what we did last year.
Here's the thing. I just want to throw this in that I like more about the NBA than the NFL. NBA is nice and even, 10-10-10.
Oh, yeah.
NFL is 10, but then 11-11 because you got 32.
It's awkward. Very awkward. But
cut 2 teams.
Just
no one would miss the Browns.
Just cut the Super Bowl winners.
Maybe somebody else.
Last one to make a noise was Ricky, so you're going to give your first top 10 that way. So, Dave, give us your top 10 picks of the 2018 mock draft 1.0.
So at number 1, as the standings currently are, and that's a good reminder because the standings are close and they will likely change in the
we're just
next
using
couple weeks.
Tankathon as of Friday.
Yeah, as of January 5th.
Yeah. So at number 1, I have the Hawks taking Luka Doncic. Number 2, I have the Celtics, who currently own the Lakers pick, taking DeAndre Ayton. Number 3, the Magic taking another starter in Trae Young. Might shock some people. 4, I have the Grizzlies taking Marvin Bagley. 5, I have the Kings taking Michael Porter Jr., assuming he comes out. 6, I've got the Mavericks taking Bamba. 7, I have the Bulls, hometown team, taking Mikal Bridges. 8, I have the Suns taking Colin Sexton. 9, I have the Hornets taking Jaren Jackson Jr. And 10, I have the Cavaliers via the Nets pick, taking Bruce Brown.
Ricky, give us your top 10.
So we'll start same order. The Hawks, number 1, DeAndre Ayton from Arizona, the center. Then the Celtics going Marvin Bagley the third, the forward center from Duke. Then the Magic. And I feel there's a part of me that felt bad for this just because the last time that you had an international, I just thought Mario Hezonja, although they are different players, Luka Doncic coming out from Real Madrid. Then the Grizzlies going Michael Porter Jr. The Kings going Miles Bridges from Michigan State. Mavericks going Mohamed Bamba, center from Texas. My Bulls going with Trae Young, guard from Oklahoma. Suns going with Colin Sexton, guard from Alabama. Then Michael Bridges, the guard from Villanova, going to the Hornets.
Mikal.
And Mikal. And then the Cavs going with Bruce Brown Jr., guard from Miami. That's
Y'all
the one
did that
thing.
on the big board.
Yeah, I know. That's Brandon's fault because he screwed me up with that. I came in thinking it was Mikal, and then he was like, no, it's Michael. And I was like, whatever.
I have no problem blaming Brandon.
No, I know.
So I will totally blame Brandon on that one. It's Mikal Bridges from Villanova. My top 10 follows Hawks taking center DeAndre Ayton from Arizona. Then the Celtics with the Lakers pick taking Luka Doncic, the guard from Real Madrid. Then at 3, the Orlando Magic taking Michael Porter Jr., the forward from Missouri, who's currently injured. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Then at 4, the Grizzlies taking Marvin Bagley, the third, the forward center from Duke. Then at 5, the Kings taking Mikal Bridges, the guard from Villanova. 6, Mavericks taking Mohamed Bamba, the center from Texas. 7, Devils taking Miles Bridges from Mississippi State. Why not Mississippi State? Michigan State. That just rolled off the tongue. Miles Bridges, one of my favorite prospects from last year. I don't even know where it's college, apparently.
It's a boy.
Number 8, Phoenix Suns taking Colin Sexton from Bama. Number 9, the Charlotte Hornets taking Jaren Jackson Jr., the forward, again, from Michigan State University. And then at 10, the Cavs via the Nets getting Trae Young, the guard from Oklahoma. A lot to talk about. Trae Young, very high with Dave at 3. Ricky has him in the middle at 7. I have him at 10. You guys have him Bruce Brown Jr. at 10. Then, obviously, the talk about number 1. So let's start there and we'll work our way down. Hawks going DeAndre Ayton. Ricky and I had the same thought process there. Ricky, you can jump in at least after this.
Oh, okay.
I was just gonna. I was just gonna see if our minds are working the same way. You look at the Hawks lineup right now, and they can fill every position pretty much besides point guard. And even then, Dennis Schroeder isn't a lock to stay on this team. But right now, I would say he is a lock. 24 years old, has a pretty long contract, just signed an extension not too long ago. I feel like he's going to be on this team for a while, so point guard is pretty much away from there. And then you look at that, I feel like you need to pair somebody with him. Doncic is a great ball handler, and I feel like he would be the pick for them if they didn't have Dennis Schroeder, and that's why Ayton goes here to pair with Schroeder and Ayton. So was that kind of your same thought process, or do you have Ayton as your number one?
We're on similar tracks. The first thing, and I want to throw up really quick if you guys haven't seen it, my top 5. So my top 5 from my big board. The thing that I want to say coming into this, any of those players, so Ayton, Bagley, Doncic, Porter, and Trae Young, you could make a case to me that any of those players could go number 1 to the Hawks. Not saying that you're right, but if you came in any of those 5, you're like, that's the team they should take number 1, I'd be like, you know what? I disagree with you in some cases, but you have the right to have that opinion.
I completely disagree with Trae Young going number 1, but okay.
I look at their lineup, and like you said, they can fill most positions. The big thing for me, though, is the one contract that they had coming up after this year is going to be Ilyasova. To me, that fills the power forward spot, and I go, you know what? They've got John Collins at the 5 right now. You draft a guy like Ayton, fill him at the 5, move Collins to the 4.
Yeah, and it really, fit doesn't matter here because, I mean, Collins is a good player, and you know, he's showing a lot of potential here. But you're going with the number 1 overall pick. You need to draft a franchise changer. John Collins right now isn't a franchise changer. Could be a very good starter in the league, in my mind. But you need to draft a franchise changer. So that's why I wasn't even thinking about John Collins. That's why you were looking at, you know, the 2, 3, 4, and 5 for that position. Ayton with Doncic and Schroeder, you know, having very similar games. That's why I'm going with Ayton. But Dave, you got Luka, your boy, at number 1. Make the case for him.
Best player available. It's as simple as that. I mean, I could see Ayton going 1. I could see Luka going 1. Both of them deservedly so. Like, Ayton's physically massive. He's 7'1", moves like a goddamn Mack truck out there, but he has zero care to play defense. So you have a one-sided player. I mean, that's cool and all. But you could take Luka, who is the most polished prospect to come out, who's been playing professionally since 14, who's playing against grown men, leading the league, being the MVP week by week, month by month over there. I don't know, other than the fact that he is less athletic, is the only holdback, but that's never stopped people from succeeding in the past. So yes, there's a some concern for people who don't like international prospects. Yes, there's something you can poke at, but at the same time, he's great with the ball in his hands. He's great on the pick and roll. He's great with his court vision. He's a good passer. He's a good rebounder. For his size, he's 6'9". You have to remember that. He's 6'8", 6'9". Like, he is a forward with point guard handles. And that is something special. That's something I would not pass up if I was the Atlanta Hawks.
Here's the thing about Doncic, and it's interesting. Order and then one worry I have. First, the one worry, and it might be minor, but yes, he's going up against grown men overseas, but I wonder what's going to happen when he comes over. The athleticism's a little bit better in the NBA compared to overseas. However, it is still grown men. That's the one little
not one
negative
college
that
team
I have.
Could beat his team.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
he's
put
played
a college,
against international talent already in his young career as well.
Not talking college.
No, in tournaments.
Because I'm saying college and two, they're not playing the same thing you're going to see in the NBA. But like I said, that to the side. The thing that's more important, Hawks and Celtics don't need a main. Like, to me, when I look at Doncic, I'm drafting him to be the primary ball handler, to be the guy who can do that and then shoot from three. That's what I look at, and that's what I'm drafting. Hawks don't need that. They've got Schroeder locked up. Like, yes, you can draft him, but then you got to move Schroeder in my mind. And the Celtics, they don't need that. They've got Kyrie.
He's got much more to his game than just shooting from three and passing.
No, I know.
Well, but like even then, I don't think he's that great of a 3-point shooter. I mean,
he's not amazing.
He's not a guy that's going to be hitting from 40% like in his first 3 years. I mean, he's a guy that needs to develop his shot.
Yeah, he's not the coaching in the NBA. You can coach him up at that, and just having a guy who can be my main ball handler and have that 3-point range. That's the main thing. That's what I like about Doncic. That's what I would draft him based off of. Hawks and Celtics, though, don't really need that as their top number one need.
Well, and the one thing, too, at least both of these players, I mean, Luka, he's got great fundamentals. He's not a defensive stud. I mean, he's lacking there. And obviously,
one-on-one, he's not great. Yeah. And if you do, zone defense, he's decent awareness-wise.
You're not going to play zone. fucking
Teams play
NBA.
zone.
Most teams don't play.
10 teams play zone.
But when you're going last 5 minutes, you're playing zone defense. You're not going to allow the NBA, you're not going to play zone defense in the NBA in the last 5 minutes because those guys are just going to take advantage and shoot from the outside. So you're just going to start losing games. You're playing zone defense
Depends
in the NBA.
on the teams, depends on situations.
But 95% of the league isn't playing zone defense when it comes to the last 5 minutes of the game, and that's really when it's important. I mean, you need to be playing great defense in the last second. So, I mean, defensively, Luka isn't great. Ayton isn't great as well. And then, obviously, looking at both of them, you got to compare their offensive games. I look at the athleticism. That's what puts Ayton over him, and that's why also having Schroeder there, it's the best fit for them. I think Ayton physically ridiculous. You just look at the damn kid, and he can shoot from the outside. I mean, he's shooting 30% right now from three, 71% from the free throw line. It's really good for a big man his size. He's got a pretty good mid-range shot as well. Offensively, he's gonna be a stud. And when you're working with a coach like Budenholzer in Atlanta, I feel like you can get the best out of him defensively. I feel like he's not going to be a stud. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be winning Defensive Player of the Year in his NBA career, but I feel like he can develop into a good defensive player.
I think he's got about the same defensive ability as certain other big men you're a big fan.
Towns.
Yeah.
But
for him, it's engagement. If he doesn't care, he's not going to do it, and that's. You saw the motor questions coming into college. You saw it in Arizona's first couple of games when they looked really poor.
Yeah.
And it's just, he'll try on offense. He likes scoring. Cool. Like, he's a monster out there on offense.
The thing that I just worry about is I think you make a valid point. It's very clear that the motor isn't there. But maybe going to the NBA, working with a coach like Budenholzer isn't really a no-nonsense guy. Yeah. And coming from that pop tree, he might be able to get the best out of him, might be able to change his mindset and help him play defense. Because right now, also, you look at him, Ayton, this guy's 7'1", has the wingspan to just stand there and block shots.
Exactly.
So he doesn't really need to be that great defensively right now because he just needs to do enough. Right now, he's doing enough.
Yeah, I think he's averaging like 1.3 blocks a game.
1.5 now.
1.5.
So, I mean, like, he's still going to be, like, Karl-Anthony Towns looked the same way in Kentucky. He still had the length there to block shots. I feel like if he's able to change his mindset, give a little more on the defensive side, he can be good. So
if you can keep him engaged, he's a scary prospect. He's number 1-2 for a reason.
Yeah, that's why I feel like if we're talking about tiers for these prospects, tier 1, you have Doncic, you have Ayton. Ayton's a better fit to me for the Hawks. Let's move on now to the second pick because this was the hardest one probably in this whole draft to really nail down. The Celtics currently holding that Lakers pick. I didn't know what to do with them because I didn't know if I should go Celtics, like drafting for the Celtics, or the Celtics are going to trade this pick and someone else is going to take them. I thought of it as Celtics trading this pick, someone moving up and taking Luka Doncic for me.
And that's where our mindsets between you and I differed because right now, and this is how I personally think of mock drafts, right now I am drafting for the team that is there. At this point, I can't predict who's going to trade up if the Celtics are going to move. Hell, the Philadelphia 76ers could get it if it becomes the number 1 pick. But looking at the Celtics, because they're the ones that were there, I immediately, anyone in the backcourt, I said, no, you're not getting drafted by this team. I've got Kyrie. I've got Hayward in that backcourt, Brown, Tatum. It's already it's a log jam there. I'm looking to the front court.
They got wings.
And that's where I'm like,
wings for days.
You know what?
Scary Terry, Marcus Smart too.
I'm just going to go with Marvin Bagley, and I'm going to go and draft him the next best big man off the board.
And that's great mind thinking as well. I think if I had to slot someone there for the Celtics, it's going to be Bagley because they need they need rebounding help is what they need. They need a physical presence down there. Al Horford's great. He's a good player, but he's not a great physical presence down there. Bagley brings that super athletic kid. He's going to be able to grab boards left and right just with his wingspan and his athletic ability. But Dave, you have Ayton falling there. Yeah. And Ayton, we already talked about his physical stature. He can grab boards left and right.
Perfect fit for the Celtics if they do end up keeping it.
Not great defensively, but how do you feel like Brad Stevens would work with Ayton? How do you feel like he would help?
I think the fact that they can pair him next to one of their 18 wings and make up for him defensively, he just basically needs to be a rim protector. Like, he doesn't have to be hardcore going out to the wing to defend people. They've got enough mid-range guys who can cover everywhere else to make up for that deficiency. Like, he's someone you can hide on an amazingly defensive team like the Celtics team. And that's the thing, is like you said, it's the hardest one to pick because the Celtics only have 2 through 5. If Ayton goes 1, I could see them, trading is likely because the other guy I'm looking at is like Bamba. Like, Bamba's the ideal fit for them. If they get bounced down to 5, not even questioning it. Like, that's who I would go with. But at 2, with my draft the way it's laid out, Ayton is the clear and far away winner.
And thinking about it and looking at all the teams there, who do you feel like is the most likely to move up to try to get that Celtics pick? Or possibly the idea that the team that I feel like is most likely is probably the Pelicans at 9. Maybe they keep that 9th pick, but it's pretty much a trade for either Boogie or AD, and that pick is moved. So if they're picking at 2, that pretty much means the Pelicans, in my mind, would be getting Luka Doncic, which, I mean, fill in that with either DeMarcus Cousins or AD if AD stays,
right,
and DeMarcus Cousins ends up going to Boston. That's a scary pair right there with AD and Doncic. So I feel like there's definitely a team that's going to move up. I feel like Boston's going to make a move because if they have that number 2 overall pick, they don't need another kid out there. They already have Jason Tatum. They already have Jaylen Brown. Those guys look absolutely fantastic. Kyrie is still young. Gordon Hayward's still young. They just need help in the middle. A guy like DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, you can go out and get that with the assets you currently have. You don't need to develop another guy, and I feel like that's something where get a finished product and help your team go win an NBA Finals. I feel like you can do that with that pick. That's why I feel like Celtics probably easily the team that's going to be trading that pick. I feel like whoever trades there,
Lonzo Ball doesn't come back, because if he does, the Lakers win games again.
Well, and then also, I mean, not only Lonzo, but again, that team is still very young.
Oh,
I mean, you look at
young,
Kuzma.
you watch when
Kuzma's
Lonzo's not there. Like, and as much as I love to hate on Lonzo, like when he's out there, the team is a different team.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a facilitator, still playing good defense. But even then, like even if he comes back, even if he comes back, though, I mean, Kuzma's still young, Ingram's still young. They're going to go through cold streaks.
I think they're going to end up being a 6 through 10 pick. I think the Celtics are going to lose the pick this year.
What do you think about that?
Me,
do you feel like they're going to stay top 5?
If I'm putting it on right now,
half the season,
I'd put my money on the Lakers pick being number 1.
Really?
And, either them being a 2 or the lottery, them getting the number 1 pick through the lottery. I have a weird feeling that'll happen. It'll go to the 76ers. However, the thing that I look at is, let's say it's at 2, I'm looking down this order and I'm trying to think in my mind who would trade up for 2. And maybe it's because I'm looking at my big board. The thing I'm looking at is, okay, if you're trading up for 2 and if Ayton was drafted number 1, then you're trading up for Doncic. That's who you're trading up for. The Bulls,
I would say any team.
Stupid enough to throw.
Would they do it? The one that I want to throw out that I thought of was the Clippers. However, I just don't know. Also, it's the Celtics, so they could do what they did in the Chris Dunn year of, we'll trade you, Nah, you know what, we won't trade you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for sure, but I feel like if they're going to use that pick, they're going to get a player that's NBA ready, so I feel like you have to look for a team that has NBA-ready players to go and help that team. Yep. I think the Bulls are candidates that would take Doncic. I think you look at the Suns, they're likely candidates that would take Doncic. Same with the Grizzlies, Magic. I feel like if those teams felt pressures from teams behind them, they would move up to make sure they grab him, but I don't know if they have the actual NBA talent to do that outside of Marc Gasol in Memphis. Yeah. But then again, I don't know if he's worth the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. So that's something that's thrown out there.
But if they do have the option to throw future picks at the Celtics.
The Celtics actually have their next pick.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
even after that too, if they can throw future picks and
because that's what that team needs.
There are some crazy protections on it, so it's by 2020 it's unprotected. But
so we'll see what happens there. But I have Luka Doncic there because I feel like some team will trade up there. But if they don't go there, Bagley, if Ayton's gone, great fit. If Ayton's still there, that's an awesome fit there. Just needs to pick up defensively, but now we don't talk about DeAndre Ayton because he's off all of our boards. So the other team, the guy I want to hit in this top 3, I have him at 3. You guys don't have him at 3. It's Michael Porter Jr. Now there's rumors that he's coming back. He's saying that he's ready now, or that he's at least healthy.
Back to play in college this year, just to clarify, because
that he's going to be playing this year. So there's a chance that come March, come February, Michael Porter's going to be on a college basketball floor.
I mean, the original report was that this was from it's SB Nation. I'm reading this, and it was the Twitter of Alex Lewis, who's close to the team, said that the Dr. Rick Lehman talked on Michael Porter Jr. on the radio, said, I think he'll be back in the next 4 weeks, and that's more than just a guess. You do 4 weeks from the 12th, that's next week.
Yeah, and then you also look at it, he's saying he's not going to rush back, but he's still able to come back soon. So Michael Porter might be on a Tiger team soon. And looking at it, it's not like Missouri's doing bad, 11-3, third in the SEC. So this is a player that can come back.
Got to throw out there, bragging rights lost to Illinois, so right there.
There you go. Congrats. That's one of the 3 losses. But still, you look at what Missouri's doing. This is a team that come, SEC tournament time, they could be adding a guy in Michael Porter Jr. who is the number 1 prospect, or at least number 1 high school recruit coming out, and number 1 prospect at least before the season started.
And the most talked about because of the transfer too.
Yeah. So I mean, looking at this, Michael Porter, how do you feel like, if he comes back in February, let's just be, conservative here. Let's say he comes back February or right around the SEC tournament time, maybe like 5 games before. Let's say he comes back on February 17th against LSU at LSU, or maybe versus Ole Miss because they don't want to play him on the road. 4 games before the SEC tournament. Then he goes to the SEC tournament, and then if Missouri's good enough, they go to the NCAA tournament. What kind of performance do you think he needs? Because this was the number 1 prospect before the season started and before the injury happened. What kind of performance does he need to have to prove that, hey, maybe I can get back up to that number 1 overall pick?
I think he needs to take over. Like, for me, it's not necessarily like this many points, this many assists, this many rebounds. It's just take over that team, be that leader, be the reason that team wins games late in the year. Because the whole thing for me, if you guys have heard mock draft talk from me before, it's been Doncic, Porter in my mind. Which one do you put higher? And I've been favored on Porter, although he's been injured, mainly because of, like I said, the overseas question in my head. However, if he comes back and doesn't play well, that is what's going to be answered by him coming back. I just want to see him lead the team, do well, be the reason they win games and can take over a game, and then it'll be good in my mind.
I know you love Luka, so don't say he will overexceed him, but do you feel like Michael Porter can at least put his name back into the conversation for the number 1 pick? Because right now most mocks have him even outside the top 5. I know Brandon Swanson had him at 6 at the big board. Do you feel like at least Porter can put his name back in conversation? I know you wouldn't put him over Luka even if he goes out and lights it up, but do you feel like Porter can still have a great...
He can. The scary thing is, though, if he comes back and doesn't look right, then you're just killing yourself in your draft stock. Because if you come back and show signs of continued injury, or God forbid you have another injury this season to your back, like your draft's just dead. You're just screwing yourself over. You're knocking yourself down, and you're coming back again next year.
One thing I would say is not the re-injury one, the first one. If he doesn't look okay, then he's going to be a steal for some team outside the top 5.
But here's the thing, is that there's even rumors now that he might come back for a sophomore year at Missouri.
Well, he could have a Miles Bridges situation, where Miles Bridges, we thought he was going to come out last year.
It's different, though. It's different because Miles wasn't injured.
Yeah.
And Miles was playing great. He wanted to win a championship. I don't know if it's exactly the same thing. I understand what you're saying.
You
but
don't
want
to come back unless you love the college atmosphere.
That's
what I'm saying.
I feel
For
like
him, it's family, though.
Yeah,
right?
his dad's the assistant coach.
And he might play with his brother?
Was that
it?
Yeah. But again, what I was trying to say was with Porter, not only does, if he comes back and doesn't play well, if he still wants to go to the NBA draft, he can still go to the combine. And if he lights it up the combine, people are going to see that athletic skill. And if he's able to perform well there, then they're going to say, well, he's not that, injured that much. He's not held back. Maybe it was just, he didn't play enough. He was still rusty out there. And he could rise back up the board. So, and even if he does that and has a bad combine, he could still pull out and come back. So there's a lot of options for Porter. I feel like if he comes back, and like you said, Ricky, dominates, he's still the number 1 player in my mind in the board if he's healthy. If he comes back and just solidifies that with a great performance, he's back up to number 1, and I would definitely consider looking at him to be an Atlanta Hawk.
He'd be and that's the key point. He'd be number 1 if the Atlanta Hawks are there. If the Hawks are, like, right now, they're number 1. If he was healthy and lighting it up right now, he'd be number 1 on my mock draft.
If he comes back, shoots around 85% from the free throw line, shoots above 33% from 3, and shows at least quickness attacking the basket and is able to blow by defenders a couple times, then easily number 1 on my board.
Even if the Sixers are number 1, I'd take him still too.
No.
I would take
Probably
him even
not.
with the Sixers.
Where would you put him?
Where would I put him? Either small forward or shooting guard, depending on what's going to happen with JJ.
Shooting guard, he's 6'10", 6'11".
Or you can then power forward. Then
that's Ben Simmons' spot.
You'll fit him in somewhere.
You have 6'10" Ben Simmons, 6'11" Michael Porter Jr. Your 4th smallest player would be Rocco, who's like 6'8". Then you have Joel Embiid, who's 7 feet tall. I don't know about the Sixers there.
The Sixers could take literally anybody there.
I think the Sixers would be looking for some shooting or something. I think they'd be looking to trade because that team doesn't have a lot of holes. And if they're not able to sign J.J. Redick, they're going to be looking to someone to play that 3 or possibly someone to play the point and switch Fultz over to the 2.
Yeah, no, I agree, though. I think you're right. Like, Porter, he has absolute star potential. And if he comes back and, like, gets rolling in the tournament, and you know how much, like, I'm sorry, from a GM standpoint, you know GMs love watching the tournament. They ignore their scouts information before the tournament. Like, I don't care. Tournament, I want that guy on my team. Yeah. And if that happens and he looks good in the combine, he's going 1 and somebody could trade up for him.
So what you're telling me is Sixers get the number 1 pick because I said the Lakers will. Yeah. And then the Kings trade up for number 1.
I could see it. And
let's not get too crazy. Let's cool it on this.
No, but I'm saying, like,
just talking about Porter.
This is the guy who has a ton of potential. Like you said, number 1 coming out of high school. There's a chance that if he comes back and plays at a top level like we expected him to, he could reclaim that number 1 spot.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the tournament because a guy that can easily light up the NCAA tournament, the guy that's going to be having GMs on the edge of their seat is probably going to be Trae Young. The way this kid's playing, dropping dimes left and right and scoring about 30 points a night in college, he's putting up video game numbers. This kid's insane. I mean, you guys talked about him on the Primetime podcast.
Could he get the number 1 pick?
No,
said.
No,
he could.
You can't.
I'm answering your question. But looking at him, he's definitely going to get GMs salivating. And Dave, you have him going a 3 to the Magic. Ricky, you have him going 7 to the Bulls. I feel like that is just something that you kind of hold on. I feel like that's something you did just because you want Trae Young on your team.
That's a Ricky wet dream right there.
Just to really quickly go down it, if you looked at my mock draft, it's okay. So Doncic is off the board. The next best guard to me is Trae Young. The Grizzlies have Conley. The Kings have 2 guards already. Don't need
Buddy
another.
Hield and Fox, yep.
The Mavericks just took Dennis Smith last year. Why would they, you can go BPA. I don't see them going Trae Young. And then the Bulls, I see them, we got Chris Dunn, but I could see them going, this guy could work good with Hoiberg and putting them in.
What is the thought process there, though? Because then you're going to have Trae Young, Chris Dunn, and Zach LaVine. None of those guys can play the 3. They all play 1 or 2.
My thought process would be, so Chris Dunn is a little bit, has been in the league a little bit contract-wise more than Trae Young. My thought process, and this is where the Bulls fan comes out in me, I think Trae Young is going to be better long run than Chris Dunn will. So I'm putting my money in Trae Young to be my future point guard, but play behind Chris Dunn to start his NBA career.
But looking at Chris Dunn, I mean, he brings he still brings the passing that Trae Young does. I feel like with his size as well and his passing, I feel like he can at least hold that. He's bigger than Trae Young. He's way better defensively. Trae Young can't play defense. He's like a fucking gate out there. You're gonna have him and Zach LaVine who both can't play defense in your backcourt.
Here's the thing I want to mention. You guys mentioned it with both Luka now and Trae Young. With the point guard, if you're not, defensively is not the best thing I put into, because look at Steph Curry. How much do we rag on his defense?
No, but he has Klay Thompson next to him.
I know.
So Klay takes the better offensive player. That's Zach LaVine and Trae Young. Both.
You don't have a better.
You would want to switch them.
We would need to find our defensive answer there, but I wouldn't pass on Trae Young because we don't have that.
No,
but what I'm saying is two of those guys can't play defense at all. Both of them are bad at defense.
But they're not going to be, in my mind, they're not on the floor at the same time.
Clearly, you just go 2K and you trade away Zach LaVine.
But you're not gonna start Trae Young or Chris Dunn or Zach LaVine.
I would start off having Young play behind Chris Dunn and see if he then how he plays if he overtakes
Zach
Chris
LaVine's
Dunn.
23, 24 years old, right?
Yeah.
How old is he?
No.
I think he's 23, 24. So looking at Zach LaVine looks to be your future too. So he's going to be starting. Trae Young is going to be starting at some point to what you're saying, that he's going to push out Chris Dunn. So you're going to have those two starting. That's a major concern for me that those two guys can't play defense at all. And I don't think Trae Young is a guy that's going to be able to play defense magically. He's 6'2". He's a small kid. He's not really trying out there. He doesn't have the foot speed left and right to keep up with these guys. He's not getting through screens because he's so small. He can't play defense. And Zach LaVine doesn't care. Zach LaVine's athletic, but he's not playing defense out there. He came from the Minnesota Timberwolves line of thought where Wiggins, Cat, and LaVine are great. They'll put up 20 a night, but they can't play defense.
Yeah.
So, and Fred Hoiberg's not a guy that's going to be riling up the troops to get you playing great defense.
Nope.
He's showing himself to be a good coach. But,
to be fair, their team did have a stretch of defensive prowess there.
But I don't think he's going to get the most out of Zach LaVine defensively. So that's the biggest problem that I have with the Bulls. are you gonna? I feel like if you're, if he's out there at 7, if you're going BPA, Trae Young's the pick.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they go BPA there because they already have 2 guards there that I feel like can be their future.
Let me put this into a retrospect too. The other guy I would think at 7 for the Bulls is Miles Bridges. He went off the board at 5 in my situation. So if Miles Bridges is there, then I've got a debate between Bridges and Young at 7.
I think Mikal.
What about Mikal Bridges? Because he's a guy that can play the 3. He's bigger. He stud defensively
and can drop it from deep.
The thing with me is I don't want to be, and I know this is going to be, people are going to say overhyped because they do. I don't want to be the team that passes on Trae Young, him develop into something phenomenal and be like, why didn't I take him?
You don't pass on Steph Curry.
Well, that's exactly it.
Don't be the Timberwolves.
I don't want to pass.
Don't take Johnny Flynn or Ricky Rubio.
And Steph Curry went 7th, just saying. So
okay.
That had nothing to go into my situation. It's just funny.
I watched your video on Trae Young. You straight up said that the comparisons between him and Steph are ridiculous.
No, they are.
So then why are you
Steph
comparing
was a junior when he had those stats. Trae Young's a freshman and dropping those stats. Have some respect.
The thing I'm putting into though, without even bringing it up, like throw Steph out. There's Trae Young to me has great potential, and there's a reason why he's putting up the numbers he is right now. Like everyone says, like
balls.
There's the next game I was watching today.
He's doing it efficiently.
Today on ESPN, they're like, well, how's he gonna do against West Virginia's screen? It's like we have all these questions for him. Then he goes out there and lights it up. The kid is special. The kid has potential. I wouldn't want to pass on him. If I was GM of the Bulls, wouldn't want to pass on him. If I was the GM of the Mavericks, the Kings, the Grizzlies, I got into it. They don't need a point guard.
I'm not denying that. The only thing with Trae Young that I have a problem with
is his defense.
It's his defense and his ability to attack, and then also how does he respond to controversy? How does he respond to adversity? Because so far, his worst game was his first game against Omaha, and he put up 15 points. Yeah. That's not that bad of a game. My career high is 11 in 8th grade basketball.
We're going to see that as the season goes on, hopefully, how he fights adversity.
I'm just wondering, again, I'm not saying this is a huge thing, but I'm just wondering how he would do as a leader going up against a great team and having to pull out the best of his abilities out there. I'm not saying that, again, Wichita State, number 3 team in the nation, he was fantastic. Yep. Against TCU, he was fantastic. He's played against big opponents, and he's risen to the occasion. I'm not saying that. I'm just wondering how he handles adversity. Yeah. That's the only thing. And I'm not saying that's going to be something that holds him back. The only reason why I have Colin Sexton above him is because he's a better fit for Phoenix, and I don't see a team taking a guard before that. I thought you're very similar to you. The Magic, they can take Trae Young.
I'm like, how do you not? That's wherever the Magic are is where Trae Young lands. I don't see them if they're at 2, they're taking him at 2. If they're at 5, they're taking him at 5. Like the Magic need Trae Young.
Okay,
that's period.
Why are your thoughts on Trae Young? Because my thoughts, at least with the Magic, because I don't think it's wrong. The reason why I had Michael Porter Jr. going to the Magic, I know that Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. play very, very similarly, but the thing is that I think Michael Porter Jr. is the best player in the draft. That's why I have the Magic going with him. Outside of Aaron Gordon, there's not a guy that's really staying on that team in my mind.
Last year's draft pick?
I don't want what?
Last year's draft pick much?
Okay, but Jonathan Isaac's not starting right now, and he's hurt. Jonathan Isaac's not going to be around, and Jonathan Isaac, he's not going to be. He's not going to be.
We're talking about the guy who can defend the 2 through 5.
Let me see.
Who has the length of
shut the fuck up.
Dinosaur out there.
Dude, I said the wrong thing. He's not a guy that is currently in your starting lineup, and what I would say is he can play the 5, so you can put him at the 5, Gordon at the 4, Junior at the 3. It's a big lineup, but I'm just saying I misquoted me. Sorry, Dave.
I misquoted me.
I said the wrong thing.
Mine was easy. Luka was on the board. Like, I'm not taking Trae Young over Luka right now.
That's fair. I think Dave would do the same thing.
Yeah. No, and I would. I absolutely would. But the Magic need an all-star. They need somebody who has that star potential.
And I think Porter is that. So that's why I went with him.
Porter could be that, but that's how committed are they to Aaron Gordon is my question. And I go, they're very committed. They need a guard. They need a ball handler who needs the ball in his hands. They need a guy who can shoot from the outside consistently.
Michael Porter can do that.
Yeah, but this guy is shooting in volume and efficiently, and he had, a 22-assist game. He had a couple games where he's averaging like 7
Northwestern
boards.
State.
I don't care. When you have 22 assists, it means the guys around you are playing better. It's the difference between a good floor general and a bad floor general. When the guys around you are shooting better, when you're on the floor, that means you're a good point guard. And that's what you want on a team like the Magic. A team who, at one point, led the NBA in three-point shooting after the first 2 weeks. Now where are they at? Like fucking dead last. Like they are a team who desperately needs someone with this kind of star potential in Trae Young.
Porter has that star potential and possibly could turn into that.
It's
but
the
he's
Magic.
6'11". What about it?
They're not going to draft Michael Porter Jr.
2 questions.
What is that? What does that have to do with the Magic and Michael Porter Jr.? What do you mean it's the Magic?
What have the Magic done with drafts and with player decisions in the past? They just shoot themselves in the goddamn foot.
So you're saying taking Trae Young is shooting themselves in the foot?
I'm saying taking Trae Young over Michael Porter Jr. is a risk, but it could pay off because we don't know what Michael Porter Jr. will be yet. We know what Trae Young is now.
And this is a first mock draft, and I am not worried by his injury.
I am, because he hasn't played.
Well, and if he comes back and he plays fine, then he's going to be 3 going to the Magic because he has the biggest star potential, and they need a star.
Two questions I've got for both of you. First off, and this plays into question 2, who would be your starting small forward on the Magic right now?
What do you mean?
Like, if you were...
Like, on the current team?
Yeah, on the current team right now, who would be there? Fournier. So here's the question I would ask is which situation would you do? Would you want to replace Fournier with Michael Porter Jr.? Because I would not replace Aaron Gordon.
So here's the thing.
Or would you replace Elfrid Payton with Trae Young?
I would replace any of them. I want the best player and the best star. Okay, Elfrid Payton does not have my heart tied. This guy is Elfrid Payton. He has spots where he looks really good, but so far throughout his career,
He shot and he airballed it because he couldn't see the rim because of his goddamn hair.
Everybody has a bad day, Dave. Sometimes I say the wrong things.
He has
a
floof that he can't see through.
I know, and he's a 12, 6, and 4 player. That's all he's ever gonna be.
I
don't see anything more than
him. Every Magic fans for the 3rd straight year. Is this the year Elfrid Payton can do it?
And I don't think it is. So Elfrid Payton's not the guy there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think Fournier is a guy that's going to put up 18 points, but you can move on from Evan Fournier. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's a star in the league. You can move on from Evan Fournier. It's not going to break my heart.
Right.
You can move him and possibly get a point guard or possibly get more picks. I don't think Fournier is the guy. You're going for a star. I feel like Porter, currently on the board, has the biggest star potential if he's healthy and if he even declares. We don't know if he's going to declare. So I think right there, is the pick of Trae Young stupid? No. Is the pick of Doncic stupid? Hell no. If Doncic is on the board, you're taking him.
Well,
But I think Porter has the biggest star potential left on my board. That's why I go.
Last thing I'll mention, this plays into it, is Fournier is locked up until 2021. He has his player option. Peyton's an RFA after this year. I mean,
it's the biggest need by far.
It's like, what do the Magic go? With Peyton, do they say, you know what, we'll let you walk as an RFA and we're going to draft a point guard? Or are they even going to re-sign him at the end of the year? Because he is an RFA.
Yeah, I think they'll probably tender it. But the thing is, with these teams, like the Hawks, the Magic, the Grizzlies, I think
you need that star.
Even the Mavericks too.
Best player available.
Yeah, even the Mavericks too. You're looking for a star, and if you obviously Mavericks, they're not going to take anybody to take over Dennis Smith's spot, but you need another star to go with Dennis Smith.
Yeah,
if you're looking at Memphis,
Dirk, sooner rather than later.
If you're looking at Dirk's not even a star.
No, I mean like your star is what I'm saying.
Well, Dennis Smith is their star right now.
Smith, yeah.
So I mean Harrison Barnes too. Yeah, Harrison Barnes too. So you're not going to take anyone that at small forward. You're not going to take anyone at point guard because you already have those guys. Everyone else is pretty much expendable because Nerlens is not making enough money there to.
He's eating hot dogs in stands.
Yeah, I mean Nerlens is whatever. I'm so disappointed in him. But you look at the Kings. I mean they have De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield. Other than that, I mean Willie Cauley-Stein's playing well. But if you're gonna have a guy who's gonna be a star, you're gonna take it. So there's guys that are there that are tied down. But other than that, even if there's players at the positions that are young, like an Elfrid Payton, like a Fournier, it doesn't matter. You need a star. We've seen what we have in these guys. They're not stars. Maybe Fournier can do that if he gets a point guard that can pass and distribute to him. But right now, you're looking for a star. I'm looking for a star. That's why Porter's there.
Vucevic for Draymond, straight up, baby.
Straight up.
Oh, God.
And yet another starter of the Magic.
We need to do another Magic topic that people will actually watch, like that Bismack Biyombo one, because I need to see those Orlando Magic fans come back, because those were some of the dumbest comments I've ever read in the history of Most Valuable Podcasts, and I've run some dumb comments.
Vucevic for Draymond, straight up, baby.
Oh, I love it. Anyways, real quick, I'm going to run down. Also, Kaz at Trae Young. Trae Young's not going to be the 10th pick. He's going to move up. Someone's going to take him.
But they need a point guard. They need a point guard.
Well, I think Isaiah's not going to stay. I don't know if Isaiah's for sure going to stay. And also, I don't. If they keep the pick and they don't move it because they're afraid of LeBron leaving, Trae Young's going to be a great. I mean, I don't have to defend why Trae Young's going to the Cavs.
But even you have Trae Young, Bruce Brown. So it's like we all have a point guard.
We all think point guard's probably the spot they would go.
Yeah. Also with Bruce Brown, I don't know. I don't like him. 10, really? He's not a top 10 pick. You have Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox right there. Kevin Knox has a ton of potential. Jaren Jackson, it would be going way before Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson's going way before Bruce Brown as well. Hamidou Diallo, like him way better. Robert Williams as well, like him way better than Bruce Brown. There's a lot of guys.
Guards is what I'm saying.
Diallo is.
No, Diallo is not a point guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what Diallo is, though. Because he's
Diallo's
6'5",
athletic.
and that's the thing.
He's not a great basketball player.
He's not.
He has potential because of his body.
So maybe he could become a point guard. He's 6'5".
His handles are not clean yet.
Nothing's clean.
He can dunk.
Yeah, because he's athletic.
Kid can slash.
He's athletic. So
Yeah.
I don't know what Diallo is. I would take Diallo though over Brown. So that's
Fair enough.
So looking at that, even if you're looking for a point guard though, I would still go him because you have LeBron James. If LeBron's staying,
That's a
so
game.
the thing
We
is,
don't
if
know.
LeBron's staying, you really don't need a point guard. And if LeBron goes, you need a superstar. That's why I'm not going.
You could
Brown,
resign
I'm
IT,
going-
and then you need a small forward also.
Yeah, so I mean, the Cavs are a tricky one. If Trae Young's there, though, I mean, just imagine. I don't know what happened there. If Trae Young's still there, just imagine Steph Curry and LeBron James playing on the team. And there you go.
Yeah.
It's 2K wet dream right there. Real quick, just running down though, teams that we didn't hit. Grizzlies. They need something. You're going to take the best player available. That's why Marvin Bagley goes for Dave and I. That's why Ricky takes Michael Porter Jr. He's the best player available. Kings need a small forward. Mikal Bridges. Defensively, him, De'Aaron Fox, Willie Cauley-Stein. That is a nightmare defensively for
Absolutely.
any team. Mikal Bridges, the smart pick there for the Kings. Hield's not going. Fox isn't going. So they're not going to go guard there. Mohamed Bamba across the board for the Mavericks. Best player available, and if it's a need, he's going to be a great rim protector. And he also has a shot that might develop.
He
So
could learn to
6
shoot, yeah.
could be a huge steal for Mohamed Bamba. 7, I have Miles Bridges going for the Bulls. Dave has them going Mikal Bridges. We obviously talked in nauseum for Trae Young going to the Bulls.
Yep.
But the idea there, they need to fill that small forward position. Mikal Bridges and Miles Bridges both does that for them. The Suns need a point guard. Colin Sexton across the board. Best fit for that team with his ability to drive and dish, his ability to score as well, taking pressure off Dev Book. Great fit there for the Phoenix Suns. 9, the Hornets. If they get rid of Kemba, that could be a spot there for
Wild card
Trae Young
bitches.
if he's there. But I don't think they're going to get rid of Kemba. That's why Jaren Jackson goes for me. They need a forward. They need someone around there. They're not going to go with a guard. In my mind, Mikal Bridges could play the small forward, though, because Malik Monk's there already on the bench, and he's going to be growing into a starter. I think he's even starting for them right now.
No, it's like a Lamb.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. So Malik Monk is the future, though.
The moist monk will come eventually.
Is the future there in Charlotte. And then 10, obviously, we talked about that. Bruce Brown, they need a point guard. So that's why Trae Young goes for me. Best point guard, best player available. And then Bruce Brown, in your guys' mind, is the best point guard available.